Hello, and welcome to today's show where we promise you'll leave feeling empowered, enlightened, and inspired as we dive into Memories Matter, breaking the stigma around young onset dementia and sharing how to live well with dementia or cognitive impair with NIA. I am Trina Myers, Miss Elite United USA, the Zebra Queen, Legacy Maker, CEO of Rare Wish, and Queen Bee of Creative Marketing Agency. And I have my guest here today, Nia.
Hi, I'm Nia Mostasero, Miss Elite Idaho United USA, and self-proclaimed professional volunteer.
I love that, professional volunteer. I can't wait till we get a little bit more detail into that and learn a little bit more about you, Nia. So thank you so much for joining the Royal Buzz, your go-to podcast that's buzzworthy on pageantry, advocacy, and positivity. Where Hive meets hype, listen to the magic one story at a time. So as I said, today we promise to leave you feeling empowered, enlightened, and inspired.
As your Miss Elite Idaho United USA 2025, I am so proud to actively advocate for my platform, Memories Matter, combating young onset dementia stigmas.
Wow, Nia, that is such a deep and profound topic. And somebody who is the same age as you, or right around there, that is a topic that our age, our generation is typically not talking about dementia. So tell us a little bit about your legacy and what you're doing with this topic.
Thank you. I fight for early detection, treatment, and a cure of dementias so that future generations have the opportunity to thrive and live dementia-free lives. It has been my life's purpose since being diagnosed at the age of 42 in 2017. It was only
Wow.
4 months after I retired from the Air Force. I served over 22 years.
Wow. Like I said, our age shouldn't be having to say that they were diagnosed with dementia set at such an early age. So how do you stay fit and well with this type of diagnosis?
I focus on living well. I focus on having purpose. I have about three pillars that I really dedicate my wellness journey to as I'm going through this. One is
Mm-hmm.
the physical, one is the emotional, and the spiritual.
Mm.
For the physical, I exercise 6 to 7 days a week, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm lucky to get out and walk a mile 3 times a week.
But you know what? Once you dedicate yourself to living the best life that you can, it just becomes a habit, a necessity.
Yes,
And you feel better afterwards. It's hard getting up,
absolutely.
but you feel
Yes.
better. Um, and then there's the emotional. And
Hmm.
for my emotional pillar, I am involved in several support groups. Online support groups, and we are establishing another support group out here, but I'll talk more about that later.
Okay, great.
Another thing is just getting rid of the stressors in your life. Scheduling, and I'm a planner by nature, so I live by routines and schedules and planning and organizing. All that sounds stressful now that I'm talking about it, but it's actually not. It actually decreases the stress, you know?
Because you already have it all planned out.
Absolutely. Stress is the mind's enemy. And the next is, and the final, for me, the most captivating is the spiritual,
Mm.
because I have such faith in my Lord, and He's brought me a mighty long way. my foundation is my base. It is my foundation is my love of Christ, my faith, my strength, my anchor. Uh, and my color is purple. It's the royal color.
That's right.
It's the royal color. So spiritually, I couldn't do any of those things without my spiritual foundation.
Wow, that is very touching. And, you're amongst other Christians in the United USA national pageant system. So it's such a great honor to have a sister of Christ alongside me in this podcast and
Amen.
as a SASH sister.
Amen. I love it.
That's right. So tell me a little bit more about your advocacy.
I love advocacy, and I never thought that I would be as heavily involved in it as I have been. I've met some wonderful people along the way. We're stronger in numbers. We're united. We are better together. I work with the Alzheimer's Association, the Dementia Action Alliance nonprofit, as well as the National Council of Dementia Minds.
Mm-hmm.
I also have just recently formed a relationship with the Idaho Area Agency on Aging, as well as the Brain Injury Association of Idaho. So I'm looking forward to just building new connections, getting out there, advocating, using my platform to build awareness.
Wow, that's great. You mentioned the brain injury. So, how is that related with dementia?
There are several ways in which dementia can be diagnosed or reasons why it's diagnosed. Unfortunately for me, and it's been a blessing in disguise, I was abused as a child and I
Mm.
sustained several traumatic brain injuries that have
Mm-hmm.
since, at the time, I had lots of cognitive struggles, but I always overcame them as a young child. I always adapted and overcame, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I just thought I was a little slow.
Sure.
I just didn't think that I was all together. So I always worked double and triple hard to get the same results as an average intelligence person,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But later I was diagnosed while I was in the military because I was having problems keeping up with my tasks and my duties at maybe the last 2 years of service. Um, and I was diagnosed at that time with early onset Alzheimer's.
Wow.
I maybe 5 years after that, I moved to Idaho to be near my grandchild. And I had a new neurologist that said, I don't think that you have Alzheimer's. Let's do a deeper
Mm-hmm.
dive. And that's when she asked, she said, your atrophy, your brain atrophies are widespread. They're not just inclusive to that Alzheimer's pattern. She
Hmm.
said, did you have brain injuries ever? And I said, oh yeah. When I was a child, I sustained lots of blows to the head. And she said, okay, so I think that what you have is suspected chronic traumatic encephalopathy
Mm.
dementia,
Wow.
which
Who would
is
have
due
ever
to
thought?
traumatic brain
Yeah.
injuries. Absolutely.
Right. Oh,
Hmm.
I learned something new today. Wow, that is very interesting. Who would have thought? I mean, it makes all sense that a
Hmm.
TBI and early onset Alzheimer's could have some correlations.
Absolutely.
Wow.
The brain is and I've learned all this since 2017, being diagnosed with an early onset dementia type,
Sure.
that the brain is remarkable and it's like a huge processing unit,
Mm-hmm.
but the skull, it does its best to protect it, but it doesn't always
Right.
do, it's not
Right.
always enough.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But all you can do is your best.
Absolutely. So, in me forming my relationships with the brain injury Association of Idaho. I will also be venturing out. We spoke, and I will be partnering with the Women's and Children's Domestic Violence nonprofit out here, because a lot of times people are having domestic violence episodes, and they're
Right.
being hit in the head, and they're being abused, and it's very understated,
Sure.
and
Well,
they
that
need help.
makes complete sense. And,
Hmm.
what a great opportunity, as somebody who, you're an advocate and a voice for those individuals, but also helping them become aware that there is this correlation.
Absolutely. And that there's hope.
Right.
There's hope.
Right.
For some reason, like I mentioned, my faith, and I
Mm,
said God has brought me a mighty long way. He really has. Because
mm-hmm.
I had a very hard time before I was diagnosed, and got on a nice little cocktail of medications that keep me upright, and supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a very difficult journey to do alone. So having community and having purpose is so important.
Mm. So true. And that's a great segue into, now that you have this title of Miss Elite Idaho United USA, what do you have planned for your legacy?
Oh, great question. Lots of work putting my feet to the pavement, building these relationships, getting the word out, advocating. I have a news I have a news interview. I have an interview with one of the news outlets out here on the 1st of March, because
Oh, how exciting.
March is Brain Injury Awareness Month.
Oh, okay.
So I will be talking about my platform, this pageant system, and I will also have one of the board members from the Brain Injury of Alliance with or Association of Idaho with me to discuss what we do and how we're getting out there. Um, and I will also build relationships I'm going to try to venture out into the schools,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be a mentor. I've already signed on with another nonprofit here, the Idaho Black Community Alliance. So I have a lot, but it mostly entails getting the word out, hitting the pavement, hitting the streets, bringing
Yes.
visibility to early onset dementia.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if viewers or our audience would like to get involved with your advocacy, what are some ways that they can contribute, and what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me would be my socials, which I am on Facebook as well as Instagram, and my handles for both is Miss Elite Idaho United USA. That's my handle for both socials. But also just reaching out to some of those organizations like the Alzheimer's Association, like your local area agency on aging, the National Council of Dementia Minds. They are literally a national organization. The Dementia Action Alliance, another national organization. They
Mm,
are so in need of volunteers and donations. It takes a village to get the word out. So
it absolutely
we welcome everyone.
does. Yes. Wow. That is amazing. I am so proud of you and the things that you're doing in your community, and know that you're looking at, how you can get involved, not just in Idaho, but, perhaps across the US. And if there's anything that either Nia or I had said today that has inspired you, we would love for you to reach out to us. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a wonderful experience to spend this time with you to better understand dementia advocacy. And I hope that our audience has felt just as inspired as I have and has learned about your inspiration behind your legacy. And, today's message just goes to show that resilience and passion can push barriers way out of the way.
Amen.
So don't forget to follow me and our guest on social media. As Nia had mentioned, her social media. You can follow me on Miss Elite United USA or the Zebra Queen. I would love for you to engage and share our continued efforts in our community. But for now, that is all for today. Thank you all for joining us. If anything resonated with you today and you'd like to continue this conversation or be a guest on the Royal Buzz, you can go to my website at creative, and that's CRE, the number 8, TIVEHQ.com, where you can RSVP for upcoming live events, learn more about organizations and supporters like today's episode, or the United USA National Pageant. We can't wait for you to join us again. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.